Welcome back to our special coverage of the January 6th committee as it's about to present new evidence about Donald Trump's intense pressure campaign against his own vice president to stop Congress from certifying Joe Biden's Electoral College victory, as required by law on January 6th. I am here with Hallie Jackson and Katy Tur, and joining us now, NBC News presidential historian Michael Beschloss. Michael, I've been wanting to talk to you about a couple of unusual historical precedents. Obviously unusual because they are presidents, I think. A president pressuring his vice president to overturn an election that the president of the United States has lost. When did that ever happen before? We've got plenty of evidence. We're going to hear more today about what Trump said to Mike Pence that morning. But we know what he tweeted, and we know that he agreed that hanging Mike Pence was a good idea along the way at key moments. And also, just how unusual it would be to interview and even subpoena the wife of a Supreme Court justice.
Well, yeah, we are seeing things, Andrea, that we have never seen before in American history. As you know, I've got sons who are in their 20s and even people younger. I'm a little bit worried that people who have not lived for a lot of American history, who haven't studied it, think that this is just a normal thing and just we're looking into the coup that almost, removed the incoming president of the United States, Joe Biden, or a vice president who was being urged to cheat and steal the election and give it to the loser. Well, starting with that one, no vice president in American history has ever come close to thinking that he or she could decide who was going to be the president of the United States. That would have been great news for Richard Nixon, who lost in a close election in 1960. He would have loved to get up and declare himself the president of the United States instead of John Kennedy. Same thing with Hubert Humphrey in 1968, who was lost to Richard Nixon by 400,000 popular votes. Wouldn't he have loved to say, I really won the election, give the presidency to me? And the same thing, even more with Al Gore in the year 2000. So we are seeing something that never happened before in history. Above and beyond that, have we ever seen a president try to wage a coup to overturn an election that he lost? Never, and I hope we never see it again. The other thing you were asking was about Ginny Thomas being called. Yes, we have not seen the spouse, we didn't see the spouse of Earl Warren called by a congressional committee, and that was because Mrs. Earl Warren, his name was Nina, did not send a lot of texts to the executive branch, White House chief of staff, and others in the middle of a coup against democracy.
If we look at this special coverage here that we're in, Michael Beschloss, as sort of a primer to the hearing that we're about to see in just 15 minutes from now on the left side of your screen, that's a live look at the committee hearing room. It is filling up. We're going to take you there live in just a second. But, Michael, the Electoral Count Act is central, right, to the legal maneuvering around what happened on January 6th. I've spoken with election integrity experts who say that Congress really should be shoring up that act. It was not a priority. Right. I think when the sort of election reform discussion was picking up momentum on Capitol Hill. But there is some important context, I think, for folks to understand about how that came to be, period, right, and the way that it is being looked at today.
Hallie, you were absolutely right. 1876, there were disputed electors from various states in the election of Samuel Tilden versus Rutherford Hayes, the Republican. Congress had a hard time resolving it, and they resolved it with a really ugly, dirty compromise, which was, we'll give the election to Hayes, the Republican, as long as the Republicans agree to end Reconstruction, pull federal troops out of the South, and let Jim Crow laws run wild, which is exactly what happened. Two more contested elections, 1880 and 1884. The result was this badly written, I think you'll agree, Electoral Count Act of 1887, which is so ambiguous that it is not a safeguard against the vice president doing what Trump asked Pence to do.
Speaking of the testimony that we are going to hear today, and Judge Ludick, who we were talking about a moment ago, CNN is reporting that he's going to testify that Trump and his allies instigated this war over democracy to cling to power. He also told Political, Michael, that America is at war with herself. I mean, I think that's a really strong statement, at war with herself. I wonder, when you look at the moment in time that we are in, do we have an historical precedent? Has it been this divided before, save for the Civil War?
Not over the question of democracy, Katie, and I think you said it extremely well. As we know, Judge Luttig, for most of his life, would have been considered the gold standard of American conservatism, defined as preserving democratic, small d, democratic institutions. He quite rightly sees the coup insurrection attack of January 6th as an attack on our democracy, which had it succeeded, and I think that the three of you would concede there was a very big chance that it might have succeeded on the 6th of January. You might have had a ruling junta led by Donald Trump, who was not elected, who could have broken this democracy forever. As an institutional conservative, Judge Luttig is saying exactly right. We're divided against ourselves over the basic issue, not of slavery in 1860, but democracy itself. We have never seen anything like that in over 2 centuries, I'm sad to say.
Presidential historian Michael Beschloss, we're so glad to have you with us for that context. Thank you.